Alright, welcome back to Slip Joint Display. Today we're looking at a couple of Great Eastern Cutlery 86s from 2019. We've got two different cover materials here to look at. We've got sucker rod wood and natural canvas micarta, and both of these knives are knife number 861219. These are the oil field jacks. Let's get into these models. So in 2019, Great Eastern Cutlery put out the oil field jacks. Both of these are Titty trim, so what you're talking about is satin polish blade, drawn swedge, nail nick, non-fluted bolsters, wrench shield, main blade being a large clip, and secondary blade being a sheep's foot. These being Titty. Here is your label. Both are the same. So Titty Cutlery oil field jack number 86, a picture of an old oil pump, PPP for Pattern Production Premier and Classic Pocket Knives, 1095 carbon steel, and the address. And then, of course, we've got the pins to match. So all that looks really good. Let's clear the deck a little bit. So, the oil field jack 2019. This was Great Eastern Cutlery's first run of the 86s, and I picked these up on release from C. Reisner Cutlery. I remember when this run came out. This was a great model, and it was a large run. If I'm correct, this run had 3 Titty-Utes, 3 Northfields, and 4 SFOs, so a 10-knife run. If I'm wrong on that, get down in the comments, guys, and correct me, but I believe that that's what it was. These were the first models to come out from the run. The sucker rod wood coming out October 30th, and the natural canvas micarta coming out November 7th that year. Both of these knives, they both have PPP on the tubes, and they both have PPP on the blades. These knives have been carried and used quite a bit, so the finish that you're seeing on these isn't exactly your normal satin finish. These knives have been carried and patinaed and had the patina removed, so they're a little bit shinier than what you would normally get on 86s, Titty 86s from that run. This natural canvas micarta, I mean, I totally dig both of these, but I like this natural canvas micarta. Let's have a look. If I'm correct, when I bought this knife, this micarta was lighter in color, and it's darkened over time just through carry and use. Still, though, you can see a lot of grain still coming out of it. I mean, I believe it was lighter. I'm not 100%, but you can still see a lot of grain coming out. And that's the reason that I haven't decided to clean this or try and do anything with it, because, yeah, I mean, I like it the way that it is, but it looks good. The natural canvas micarta is a nice choice for this knife, especially if you want a user that you don't have to worry about. Micarta is a nice, tough material that holds up well. I really like the way they did this. This example being sucker rod wood. You know, I remember when these were coming out, and, you know, I looked to see what it was, and it said sucker rod wood, and I remember thinking, what the hell is that? You know, I didn't know what it was. So, sucker rod wood is reclaimed wood that was used on oil pumps in the industry. Sucker rod wood is typically hickory or ash, sometimes oak or even Osage orange. And they used it on old oil pumps beginning around 1850, and they continued using it up into the early 1900s. And in fact, when I read about this, it specifically said in places like Pennsylvania. So, I mean, that's the interesting aspect of it. Anybody who watches this channel is familiar with how much historical stuff Great Eastern Cutlery does with the patterns and connections that they do. And the oil industry, the commercial oil industry, started in Titusville, PA, which is where Great Eastern Cutlery is located. So it makes perfect sense to me that they would use sucker rod wood on some of their models. I like this example. The grain on this looks great. The color of this wood is held up perfectly over time. Hasn't been any issue with that. You know, wood's a natural material, so this grain is kind of luck of the draw as to what you're going to get. But I like this. I always like the way these two lines are coming out of the wrench. Yeah. This is a good one. With sucker rod wood, the color of it, it kind of has this greenish color, and that's due to the wood being exposed to oil over time while it's being used on the oil pumps. But, I like this as a cover option. Yeah, these were good. So these 86s are a swell end jack. And what you're talking about here is a 2-spring, 2-well knife. So spring of our main spring, the secondary. The main spring is thicker than our secondary on these. Here is 2 wells. And because of the size of the springs, of course, the well of the secondary is going to be smaller than the main. The secondary tool, being a sheep's foot, is interesting. It lends itself to a lot of work. You can get a lot done with this. And this is a hell of a sheep's foot. I mean, this is large. And even beyond it being a large blade, you've got a full-size knife behind it if you're using it. So this isn't a weak secondary in any sense. From an ergonomic standpoint, this works out really well. It almost looks like it would be a problem sticking up, but I've always found it to just kind of sit in the folds of my fingers. This corner up here looks like it would be a hot spot, but again, I've never known it to be a problem on the knife. So ergonomically, this works well. This clip point is, in my opinion, this is what it should be. I mean, everything from the drawn swedge to the nail nick and everything else. I can dig the Northfield versions of this knife. I have a couple of Northfield versions of this model from 2019, but if we're talking Titty-Ute, this is how I think it should be configured. This is the style that I like. I like the profile of this knife. Yeah. Let's have a look around on these. New tape measure for the channel. I was doing a trade with a viewer, no less, and they unexpectedly included a tape measure in the trade, so I can totally dig that. 3-inch for the main and 2 3/4 cutting. Just under 4-inch handle there. Let's have a look at this sheep's foot. 2.5 total and just under 2 1/4 cutting. Yeah, I like this. Looks old school, so thank you for that. Let's look, see if we can find gaps. The sucker rod wood looks completely solid. I got nothing coming through. As for the micarta, couple grains of sand there, but nothing major. And of course, from the outside, we look pretty good on these. Maybe a little bit of gap there, but I don't know. Maybe when I got this, it was tip top and that came over time. I'm not sure, but otherwise they look really good. Let's see. Almost flush at half, but not quite. Need a fingernail to catch it. And as for the secondary, sticks up a little bit more. It's consistent across the run of these guys. It's all but flush at half for the main. And for the secondary, it sticks up just a little bit more, even on the Northfields. Not that anybody cares about that. These are well done. We've got a strike down the middle on each. Transitions feel good. Wrench shield may as well not even be there. It's the same on each of them. The pins all look good. Some are flush, some are sunk. And let's look. Spring termination looks good on these. It's consistent, nice straight lines all the way across. Yeah, Great Eastern Cutlery did a good job on these. Not that it's necessary, but just to say we did it. Just for a quick comparison here. Here we are up against the Great Eastern Cutlery 15. So 86 is a larger knife. I'm not sure what else I've got for comparison. Here's a 71. So you can see larger than a 15, about the size of a 71. I've heard the 86 referred to as a jumbo swell end. You know, it's a swell end jack, and I've heard it referred to as a jumbo swell end. I don't know why. I mean, I guess, whatever, if that's what you want to, that's where you want to go with it. But I don't know. The 86 to me is kind of a standard. I like the look of that. Dig the profile of this knife. I think they did a good job with it. The action on these is really good. Even the secondary blade with the thinner spring, the snap is just fine. No complaints. Of all of the 2019s that I currently have, the weakest action is on the sucker rod wood, and it really leaves nothing to complain about. I did have one of the, at one point I got my hands on one of the jig bone models, and the action wasn't good at all, and I moved it very quickly. I almost wish that I hadn't. In retrospect, I wish I had just kept the damn thing, but I moved it for a pretty good price. Yeah, these aren't cheap. These are pretty highly sought after if they come up on the secondary, especially if they're new in tube. I recently passed on one. I was looking at the other Titty Ute model from the run is an Oily Creek bone, and I was looking at picking one of them up, but it was too expensive. Not too expensive for the knife, just too expensive for me right now. So I ended up passing on it. But yeah, if these come up on the secondary, people generally aren't fooling around. These are really great models. Yeah, so what do you guys think? I mean, this was a popular run and still highly sought after. I've talked to guys in the community who have talked about wanting to get one of these, you know, kind of being a grail for them. What are your thoughts on this, guys? Is this one that you had or one that you want? Something that you're chasing or keep in the back of your mind if you ever get a chance to pick one up, you're going to? I don't know. I mean, I'm not moving either of these. I mean, I'm not going to move anything from any 86s, I don't think, but especially not from this early run. I really dig these, and I think it was a really great start for the model. You know, I mean, we've seen a lot of 86s come out since, but this was where it started, and I think the Great Eastern Cutlery did a really good job with it. Get down in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you have one? Did you have one? Did you always want one? I'll see you guys on the next video.